toll is so very busy. This has not been the journey I had planned, and I will tell you all about it when I get home. I started this journey at 1:30 in the afternoon and came across things I did not intend on coming across on my way home. I'll tell you all about it later. I need a bath, a cup of tea, and a cuddle with my man. It's been quite difficult. Now there seems to be a problem in my queue. Why is the barrier not going up? There we go. Good evening all. I'm going to make this quite a quick video because I don't want to do too much editing. I went away for the weekend, which is why you didn't get a video yesterday. I forgot to say, I'm sorry. But I was at a family do in Manchester, so it was all about family time, seeing people, that kind of thing. I didn't have the camera out for anything more than taking photos of my cousin's 21st. She's actually my dad's cousin's daughter, but we just say cousins. I'm not quite sure. Can't remember the exact. I've worked it out many times. Can't remember the exact relation. It's second cousins or first cousins once removed or something. Anyway, I had a really lovely time. Thankfully stayed overnight at Amelia's mum's in a nice comfy lovely bed and had a shower, which was just as well because it would seem the electrics on my van, I think a fuse has blown because everything had just turned off inside, not the van itself but the actual camping bit. So I was having a problem with my fridge. I think my fridge has fused everything. So I need to investigate that this week. So it would have been a real pain in the neck after the party. If I'd had to stay in there, there would have been no heating, no lighting, no nothing. So I was very grateful to have a nice, warm, comfy, snuggly bed to sleep in without any of that. Anyway, as you saw, I was travelling home and it was very late. Now, I left at 1:30 in the afternoon with the view that I would be home by 4 o'clock from Manchester. Half an hour into my journey, everything went wrong. I was in the fast lane of the M6 just before junction 18. In fact, I think I came off at junction 18 in the end to go to the services, or just after junction 18. Anyway, just before junction 18 of the services, and I could see something going on in the distance. I couldn't work out exactly what it was, and people were going around these cars that were in the fast lane and the lane next to the fast lane. I know it's not really called the fast lane, but you know what I mean. And there was a woman lay up against the concrete central reservation crying, and nobody was stopping. There was a woman on the phone who was in the car in front. There'd obviously been some sort of pile up. And so as I was going to go around her, I suddenly thought, no. So I pulled in, realised nobody was helping. And this other guy in a van pulled in as well. And I put my van at the back, put the hazards on, and just hoped that nobody was going to plough into us, and ran over to her. She was in a lot of pain. Thankfully, no blood that I could see. She was conscious, breathing. I didn't really want to move her because, well, I didn't, you know, they always say it's best not to move people. She was talking, she was with it. I asked her if there's anyone she wanted me to call. She said she wanted to call her mum. She was on the way to pick up her children, and she was going for lunch with her parents, and could I call her mum because she didn't want the kids to be worried, and she was meant to be meeting her parents as well. So I went to her car, found her phone in the footwell of the car, and then rang her mum for her. I couldn't get hold of her mum to start with, so she told me to ring her friend. So I called her friend, told her could she please get hold of her mum, and then her mum was trying to call me, so I called back. I rang her back and explained, tried to put her mum's mind at rest, said, you know, she's conscious, she's fine, she's in pain, thinks she's possibly broken her wrist, but, and she's got, you know, marks from, you know, burns from the airbag, but she's fine, she's alive, she's healthy, you know, she's breathing, she's conscious, she's okay. And just sort of did what I could do to calm her mum down. And then I wasn't sure what to do. Like, you know, she's sitting there saying how much pain she's in, and I'm thinking, I feel so useless. And I was saying to her, I'm really sorry, the ambulance will be coming. She kept saying the man's driven off, the man who caused the accident's driven off. As it turns out, he actually pulled over onto the hard shoulder further up the road, and had just tried to get out of the main traffic, which I suppose was very sensible. But in her eyes, he had driven off. And she was really distraught about that he had just left, he caused this accident, he just left. Her car was completely concertinaed, full of the dust from the airbags going off, and yeah, complete write-off. And thankfully, this lovely woman, Sarah, pulled up and said, do you need any medical assistance? And I thought, that is the voice of somebody who knows what they're talking about. You can always tell in emergencies when someone knows what they're talking about. And I said, yes, please. She did all of the things I was supposed to do. Has someone called an ambulance? Took her pulse. She did all the things that first aid training tells me to do, and I've done it a billion times because of my jobs. Especially when I was childminding. I do first aid training every 3 years, I think it is. 2 years, something like that, and it all goes out the window when I'm put under pressure. So yes, she had a chat with her, took her pulse, and then she made the decision to lay her down, because she was saying that her chest was hurting and her back was hurting, and she was saying, look, we really need to stabilize your neck. And I know this is going to be painful, but the best thing we can do is get you lying flat. I really don't want you propped up against the centre reservation. So, bless her, she did scream. We got her laid down, and she panicked, and she was saying, I don't want to be laid down. This is hurting too much. I can't breathe properly. So Sarah said to her, look, I can lift you back up if you absolutely want me to put you back into a sitting position, but I really recommend that we keep you in this position. This is the best and safest position for you. And thankfully, I think the pain eased a little bit. I think it was the initial moving her that was painful. And she started to calm down. So Sarah did a fantastic job of doing that, calming her down. And I went and got the duvet out of the van. Then the rain started and the heavens opened and the temperature dropped. And it was bitter. And there's me in fancy clothes because I've been partying the night before, fancy boots and tiny little jacket on, and the rain pours down. So I took the bag that I keep, the plastic bag that I keep all of my my duvet and everything in. I brought that out. It's one of those vacuum seal bags. It's a good sturdy one, and it's big. And I held it over the two of them to protect them from the rain, but obviously I was sat in the rain. Very quickly, I have to say, the traffic officers came. Now, I don't know if they're actual policemen. They don't act like actual policemen. They're very cheeky. But they came and they block the road off and divert the traffic. And then they wait for the police to arrive. And they did a fantastic job. And as soon as they knew that Sarah was medically trained, they said, just let us know if you need anything from us. And they reported it again to the police, to 999, and we had the police and everything turn up, and then the ambulance turned up and could thankfully take over from Sarah, at which point I went and took everything. When they'd finished with it, I went and took the blanket and everything back into the van, and then I went and changed, put some gloves on, changed my coat because it was soaking wet. I messaged a couple of people to say I was going to be late home because of this situation, and that's when it hit me. I was absolutely fine in the moment, but I'll be honest, I became a bit of a wreck after that. The tears came. I was trying to hold it together because I just thought, I don't want to, this is not my drama, this is someone else's drama. And Sarah asked me how I was, and that was it. So she sat me in her car. She had heating in her car. I've got no heating in mine. So she warmed us up, and she kept saying to me, she fed me chocolate. Brilliant. Fed me chocolate and half a banana. And she said, look, I don't want you driving home. Go to the next services. And we arranged to go to the next services, basically. So as soon as the police had dealt with us and the woman had been put in the ambulance and we knew she was being dealt with, we ended up driving down to the next services, which thankfully was only about 8 miles. By the time I saw her at the services, I was again a mess. I'd spoken to my mum on the phone. My chest was hurting. I felt like, because I was so tense, I couldn't breathe properly, and my abdomen, like my abdominal muscles felt like a rock. Just absolutely felt like a rock. It was a really weird feeling, and I think it was just shock. I didn't know how to use the machines. I was trying to order a hot chocolate at Costa, and I was reading the machine, but I couldn't actually understand what was on the machine, and I didn't know what to press. And then I was trying to type a message to Lee, and I couldn't actually press the right buttons because my hands were shaking so much. I was trying to put my pin in the pin code at McDonald's to get something to eat because I thought that was a good idea, and I couldn't press the buttons because my fingers were shaking so much. But we sat together and we talked about things that was not the accident. We talked about her job as a paediatric, what did she say? She was a paediatric surgeon. And we chatted about my job on the farm and what we're doing with You Talk. And we just had this really nice sit down cup of tea. Well, it wasn't even a cup of tea, hot chocolate, and just yeah, took it easy. And then I felt safe enough to be able to drive, which was brilliant. I'd stopped shaking. Still had a 2-hour journey to go. I was just shocked at how affected I was afterwards. It wasn't even, I mean, it's obviously traumatic for the woman, but it's not like I saw loads of blood and guts and gore and things that are going to keep me up at night. I didn't even see the accident happen. I came along afterwards, just nobody was stopping, and I think that affected me. Nobody was stopping to help her. Thankfully, the woman in the car that went to the back of her was okay. She was walking around, and was on the phone to the emergency services when I got there, and the person in the car further up didn't get out of the car, but didn't seem to be having any medical attention from the doctors and stuff. So I think he was fine, but I think he was staying in his car because I think he realised he had made a big boo-boo and he wasn't sure how people would respond to it. I don't know if he thought he was going to get yelled at by the woman who was walking around or not. I don't know. But either way, he stayed in his car out of the way. So I'm assuming he was fine. And I really hope she's okay. And the sad thing is, while we were sat with her, she was saying she'd lost her husband in January. And you're just thinking, give this woman a break. Just give her a break. She's gone through enough already this year. And then she was saying about her kids, and I was thinking, oh my God, you know, she's going to be okay. I'm absolutely certain she's going to be okay. But these kids have just lost their dad, and she's just been in this nasty accident. And I think that partly what hit me. Anyway, this is long enough. I've waffled. This is why I haven't filmed anything today, because I didn't get back until nearly 7 o'clock, and I've been in the bath and I've had a cup of tea, and I'm just trying to decompress a little bit. I've actually caught up with all of my videos now, so I've got nothing in the bank, which means there might be another day when there's no video filming where I try and get something sorted to you know, so I'm working a day ahead again, because that works really well from my editing point of view, and it means I can schedule things to go up at 6 o'clock. Or I might be cheeky and ask Emma to send me a whole bunch of Emma Cam stuff and put an Emma Cam video out. So anyway, I'm going to stop waffling. This is only supposed to be 5 minutes, and it's now 13 minutes. So thank you very much for watching, you lovely lot, and we'll have a more normal video tomorrow, hopefully.